Welcome to Motivational Mondays. This is Fred Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today I want to be discussing hardware. Yes, like computer hardware versus software. And yes, like computer software. But before we start, make sure to like and subscribe so that you can get future content like this. And if you find any value, please share it with your friends so that we can grow the channel. Thank you. So with that said, what does hardware versus software have to do with anything about motivation? So I'm going to reference a couple of movies. So there's this really great movie, and I've referenced it before, about the beginning of Microsoft and Apple and how they came about in the 1980s and how it all evolved. And it's really a remarkable story. And it's a story that I think is best described. Now, there's been a few movies about Steve Jobs, but I think this has been the best one. It was one of the earliest one, and it correlates both Bill Gates and Steve Jobs as they went head-to-head against each other. And the movie is called Pirates of Silicon Valley. Now, it's a very interesting story, but there's one part of that story that is just remarkable. It's the first time that Bill Gates kind of promises to IBM that he could deliver a software for their computers so that they can compete with Apple. But this is the catch, and this is really done very well in terms of filming this part, where they kind of take you away from the frame, and Steve Ballmer, who's, Bill Gates, one of his best friends growing up and later became the CEO of the company, kind of explains what he just did, is that he decided to sell just the software to IBM and hold the rights to the software, and thereby he would be able to sell it to other people. Now, IBM didn't realize what would just happen. They got the rug pulled under their legs. They didn't even realize it, because at that point, that meant that Microsoft could then sell their software to other computer companies. And at the time, there was nobody else around. However, IBM was that big of a giant, thinking nobody else is going to get into this. And sure enough, Microsoft became even greater than IBM. But that's a separate story. But I want to highlight this. There's software and there's hardware. We are made of certain hardware. Now, I am 5'8". I will never be 6'4". I will never be a basketball player in the NBA. Won't ever happen, and I just have to accept that. However, within the framework of who I am, with my limitations, there are other things that I can pursue. And there are things that I could bring into my life, software, so to speak, that I want to pursue so that I could become the best version or the best source of hardware that I'm able to run. Now, during that time where the computer age just started, I was really fascinated because there was a chip called the 186, and then it became the 286, and I believe the 386 and 486, and then it became the Pentium chip. And that's also the framework of when Intel, one of the largest computer chips companies in the world, started getting so much business because they went into the personal computer sphere. And that transformed the entire society of the 1980s, late 80s into the 1990s. And then the internet age was able to come in, and we were able to get into that later. But the point is of this, okay, is that the hardware had to be there. But also, you had to do both. You had to upgrade both on the hardware every so often, and you also have to in a certain sense, upload or, get a higher software, and it goes in tandem. Now, in everything in life, if you have too much software and not enough hardware, then you can't really run the program so efficiently, right? Or if you have too much hardware and the program is not strong enough, then, it's disbalanced. There needs to be a balance between both of them. And the more you're at equilibrium between your hardware and your software in yourself, the more productive you are, not just to the things that you're good at, but also to the things that you're peripherally good at, okay? Some of the secondary things that doesn't come as natural to us then get a little bit higher because we're strengthening our strongest parts, and then we're getting some of the peripheral also getting stronger, and that's how increasing our game on the standard is thereby just automatically, okay, just increased from time to time. Now, this is really an important lesson because I think that if we really concentrate on our hardware and kind of ask ourselves, what kind of software could I upload or what kind of software could I upgrade to? Now, I'm going to reference another really great movie, and this is really right. There's a movie with Keanu Reeves called The Matrix, and this really transformed a lot of the way we think from the 1990s. It was really very well done. And I do recommend that you see both of these movies because they're really very value added and educational as well. I can't really, kind of say how much of the reality in Pirates of Silicon Valley is really real. I can't attest to it. I don't know. I wasn't there. But as close as it could be, okay, it's still a good lesson to go through. Now, in The Matrix, right, Keanu Reeves goes from, the regular world into the real world. And anytime he visits the Matrix, he's asked, does he want this or does he want that? And that's basically software that he's able to upload into his system. It's like learning a new language, right? You could learn a new language. It's just desire or, the motivation to do so. But you could upload that into your system. Or you could upload, a certain regiment or a certain subject, right? Psychology. You could upload that by yourself. You don't have to wait for anything. And because information is so much out there in the public, that software that you could add to yourself is that much greater, in my humble opinion, is because it's all accessible today. There's so much information accessible today that we could all add to our game if we really are motivated to, and we have the drive to, and we have a goal to. And I think that that's really an important lesson. So we'll see you here next week on Motivational Mondays. Thank you, everybody.